The chamber of the Galactic Council resonated with an ancient tension that predated most of its current members' civilizations. Hewn from a single massive crystal of compressed neutronium, the circular room suspended in the heart of a dying star system seemed to breathe with the collective anxiety of 1,000 worlds. Ambassador Cathar of the Zinrak Collective stood at the central projection platform, his bioluminescent skin flickering with patterns of aggression and calculated strategy. Holographic displays surrounded him, each a window into humanity's rapid and seemingly chaotic expansion across the cosmos. Unlike the methodical colonization patterns of other species, carefully mapped, diplomatically negotiated, and executed with generational precision, human settlements appeared like a virus, spreading unpredictably and without apparent central control. "Observe," Cathar commanded, his manipulation of the holographic controls revealing a complex web of human activity. The council members leaned forward. Representatives from the silicon consciousness of Nexus Prime adjusted their quantum lattice interfaces. The crystalline collective's members refracted light in patterns of intense concentration. Even the gaseous entities from the nebula Concordat condensed themselves to get a clearer view. A massive display showed human colonies, a research station orbiting Europa, mining complexes on distant asteroid belts, scientific outposts near the moons of Jupiter, communication relays stretching beyond the solar system's traditional boundaries. But what made the Council truly uncomfortable was not the locations, it was the method. Each human settlement seemed to operate with a level of autonomy that bordered on anarchy. Traditional galactic expansion followed strict protocols. Centralized planning, diplomatic negotiations, resource allocation committees that could debate a single colonization proposal for centuries. Humans, by contrast, appeared to launch expeditions based on what seemed like individual whims, corporate interests, or sometimes what the Zinrak diplomatic archives translated as, "because it might be cool." They have no respect for established protocols, Cathar continued, his tentacle-like appendages manipulating additional data streams. In the last solar cycle alone, humans have initiated 17 different colonization efforts without a single formal petition to the Galactic Expansion Review Board. Ambassador Zelra from the Quantum Consciousness raised an appendage, part neural interface, part communication tool. Have they not submitted the required 15,000-page preliminary documentation? Cathar's bioluminescence shifted to a deep shade of bureaucratic frustration. Negative. Our communication attempts have been inconsistent. Their responses range from detailed technical specifications to what our translators interpret as memes and dad jokes. A holographic display shifted, showing intercepted human communications. Technical reports merged with internet humor, scientific discoveries interspliced with references to popular culture that made absolutely no sense to the assembled alien races. A communication about a potential fusion energy breakthrough would suddenly include a reference to a creature called a lolcat and something about internet points. "Their communication is chaos," muttered the representative from the Crystalline Collective, its lattice structure vibrating with confusion. But beneath the confusion was a growing sense of genuine concern. Humanity's technological advancement seemed to follow no predictable pattern. Traditional galactic species developed technologies through careful, measured research. Committees would debate potential innovations for generations. Humans appeared to stumble upon groundbreaking discoveries almost by accident, driven by what seemed like a combination of curiosity, competitive spirit, and what their own records described as hold my beer moments. The quantum analysis showed something even more disturbing. Human technological progression was not linear. Where other species developed technologies through careful, incremental steps, humans seemed to leap forward in unpredictable bursts. A breakthrough in quantum computing might come from a team originally designing a video game. A revolutionary medical technique could emerge from a research project about brewing more efficient beer. "They are a threat," Cathar concluded, his final holographic presentation showing projected human expansion over the next century. Not because of military might, but because of their fundamental unpredictability. They do not follow rules because they do not seem to recognize that rules exist. The Galactic Council fell into a profound silence. Outside the crystal chamber, the dying star pulsed, a metaphor, perhaps, for the old order of galactic civilization facing an unexpected and uncontrollable new force. Humanity was coming, and no one, least of all humanity itself, seemed to understand exactly what that meant. The Arizona Research Complex sprawled across a desolate landscape just outside Phoenix, a testament to human ingenuity's ability to create cutting-edge facilities in environments most species would consider inhospitable. Heat waves shimmered off solar panels that covered nearly every available surface, creating a mirage of technological brilliance against the desert backdrop. Inside the main research building, Jackson Miller balanced a precariously overfilled coffee mug while navigating a maze of servers, quantum computing arrays, and experimental hardware that looked like a cross between scientific equipment and an elaborate steampunk art installation. His team of researchers represented a microcosm of human potential, individuals from different backgrounds, disciplines, and thought processes, united by an insatiable curiosity and a collective ability to ignore conventional wisdom. "Rodriguez," Jackson called out to his colleague, "can you take a look at this anomaly in the quantum entanglement simulation?" Emily Rodriguez didn't look up from her multiple computer screens. Her workspace was a controlled chaos of sticky notes, energy drink cans, and what appeared to be both cutting-edge research equipment and a vintage video game console. Which anomaly? The one that might revolutionize energy production, or the one that could potentially create the most epic screensaver in human history? It was a running joke in their team that their most significant discoveries often started as accidents, side projects, or something conceived during late-night coding sessions fueled by caffeine and questionable pizza. Across the country, in the labyrinthine offices of the United Nations headquarters in New York, a different kind of bureaucratic dance was taking place. The Office of Outer Space Affairs occupied a space that seemed perpetually caught between cutting-edge international diplomacy and administrative limbo. Emily Rodriguez, a different Emily from the research scientist, this one a junior diplomatic assistant, was drowning in a sea of digital communications. Her computer screen displayed an incomprehensible mix of diplomatic correspondence, spam filters, and what appeared to be an ongoing debate about the best method to reheat coffee. The encrypted message from the Galactic Council had arrived hours ago, routed through 17 different communication protocols, each more convoluted than the last. To the untrained eye, and Emily's eye was particularly untrained at this moment, it looked like an elaborate phishing attempt mixed with the most complex piece of spam ever created. She clicked Mark as potential malware and returned to her current priority, winning today's Office Wordle competition. The irony was profound. The most significant communication from an extraterrestrial civilization in human history had just been categorized alongside offers for discount pharmaceuticals and questionable investment opportunities. Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, the tech ecosystem was its own unique organism of innovation and speculation. When the first rumors of potential alien communication began to circulate through back channels and tech forums, the response was not fear or diplomatic concern. It was pure, unbridled entrepreneurial excitement. Venture capitalists began holding emergency meetings, not to prepare defenses or coordinate a global response, but to discuss potential startup opportunities. Could alien communication be monetized? What kind of app could be developed from first contact technology? How quickly could they pivot their current business models? A startup founder named Marcus Chen was already drafting a pitch deck. Alien-human communication platform seemed like a viable product, complete with potential machine learning integrations and a freemium model. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California, the response was more measured but equally characteristic of human approach to the unknown. A team of scientists, engineers, and one very enthusiastic intern began running simulations, creating predictive models. And, because this was NASA, developing a comprehensive PowerPoint presentation to explain potential scenarios. The presentation included flowcharts, potential communication strategies, technological adaptation models, and, because no NASA presentation was complete without it, at least 3 jokes about rocket science. Back in the Arizona desert, Jackson Miller finally noticed the strange encrypted message that had been bouncing between various scientific communication networks. He squinted, adjusted his glasses, and did what any good scientist would do. He clicked "Show more details" and promptly got distracted by an incoming notification about a software update. The universe watched. The Galactic Council waited with bated breath, and humanity continued about its day, completely unaware that an interstellar conflict was about to begin, and that their most powerful weapon would be their fundamental inability to take anything too seriously. The alien invasion fleet approached with mathematical precision, their vessel configurations a masterpiece of calculated aggression. Sleek, crystalline ships moved through the solar system's outer regions, each movement a testament to millennia of refined military strategy. The Zinrak Battle Command had meticulously mapped out what they believed to be critical human infrastructure points: a research outpost near Jupiter's largest moon, a mining complex on a distant asteroid, and a small human settlement on Mars. What the alien strategists didn't understand was the fundamental nature of human infrastructure, a concept so fluid and adaptive that it defied traditional military targeting. The first wave of attacks began with pulse weapons designed to disable complex technological systems. Quantum disruptors fired with pinpoint accuracy, intended to reduce human outposts to silent, lifeless husks. The alien commanders watched their holographic displays, expecting to see complete system failure. Instead, something entirely unexpected happened. At the research outpost, a network of automated repair drones came to life. These weren't military-grade combat systems, but rather a collection of maintenance robots originally designed to perform routine repairs, scientific calibrations, and the most mundane of operational tasks. Their programming, developed by human engineers who believed in comprehensive redundancy and adaptive problem-solving, began to react. The first drone, a 7-foot-tall maintenance unit nicknamed Buddy by its original programming team, detected the incoming energy pulse. Its primary directive, ensure operational continuity, kicked into overdrive. Instead of shutting down, Buddy began a series of rapid computational adjustments. Mining lasers, originally intended for precise rock cutting, repositioned themselves. Communication arrays twisted and recalibrated. What was meant to be a surgical strike against human infrastructure became a bewildering dance of technological improvisation. The alien tactical displays erupted in a cascade of unexpected data streams. Maintenance robots were broadcasting complex mathematical sequences. Repair drones were using industrial cutting lasers in patterns that defied conventional weapon tracking. One particularly creative drone began simultaneously broadcasting classic rock music, technical diagnostics, and what appeared to be an automated customer service script. Unauthorized system intrusion detected, the drone announced in a cheerful tone that would have been more appropriate for a call center. Please hold while we resolve your invasion-related inquiry. Your strategic annihilation is important to us. On the Mars settlement, the response was equally absurd. The small human outpost was more automated research station than military base. When the first alien strike hit, the settlement's AI system, originally designed to manage resource allocation and life support, began treating the invasion as nothing more than an elaborate system maintenance challenge. Robotic maintenance units began building impromptu defensive structures. Scientific equipment was rapidly repurposed. A laser designed for geological analysis suddenly became a point defense weapon. A communication array meant for sending research data began broadcasting a mixture of technical jargon, mathematical proofs, and what could only be described as weaponized passive-aggressive technical support scripts. The alien fleet's tactical commanders watched in growing confusion. Their battle simulations, refined over thousands of years of interstellar conflict, had never encountered a defensive strategy that seemed to simultaneously ignore the attack and respond to it with bureaucratic efficiency. Commander Zelik of the Zinrak invasion force felt something approaching panic. "They're not even fighting," he transmitted to his tactical team. "They're processing." Indeed, the human outposts were responding to the alien attack with the same methodical approach one might use to debug a computer system or file a particularly complex insurance claim. Each drone, each automated system seemed to be treating the invasion as a technical problem to be solved, rather than an existential threat to be feared. A maintenance robot on the asteroid mining complex began running diagnostics, detected the alien energy signatures, and promptly generated a 17-page report detailing the system irregularities. It then keyed this report to what appeared to be a help desk email address, complete with a customer satisfaction survey link. The universe watched. The Galactic Council would later review these initial engagement logs with a mixture of terror and profound confusion. Humanity's defensive systems weren't just unconventional. They were incomprehensible. And this was only the beginning. The Pentagon's Situation Room buzzed with a peculiar energy that fell somewhere between mild confusion and bureaucratic routine. Colonel Marcus Thompson stood at the head of the conference table, his fingers drumming against a stack of classified reports that seemed to grow more complicated with each passing hour. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, adjusting the laser pointer that would accompany his meticulously prepared PowerPoint presentation, "we appear to have an interesting situation." The room was a perfect microcosm of military bureaucracy. Representatives from every branch of the armed forces sat around the table, each wearing an expression that suggested they were simultaneously taking the situation seriously and wondering if they had time to grab coffee before the next meeting. Major Sarah Jenkins from Space Force leaned forward, her digital tablet displaying a chaotic array of incoming reports. "Sir, we've got multiple unidentified craft engaging our automated research outposts, but they're not exactly engaging in traditional combat." Colonel Thompson clicked to the next slide. The presentation was titled Potential Extraterrestrial Interaction Protocols in 12-point Arial font, with a subtitle that read Initial Assessment in a slightly less official-looking typeface. In the back of the room, a junior analyst named David Rodriguez was running multiple simultaneous simulations. His computer screens looked like a cross between a military command center and a video game design studio. Probability models, communication intercepts, and what appeared to be a half-finished game of Minesweeper competed for screen space. "Our automated systems are responding," David muttered, more to himself than to anyone else, "but not in any way our training prepared us for." The Navy intelligence representative, Commander Robert Chen, cleared his throat. "Are we certain this isn't some elaborate cybersecurity test? Perhaps a joint military exercise we weren't informed about?" It was a quintessential military response. Assume first that this was an internal miscommunication rather than an actual alien invasion. Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, the response was dramatically different. Tech entrepreneurs were already seeing dollar signs where others saw potential global conflict. Marcus Chen, no relation to the Navy commander, was drafting a pitch deck before the first official government briefing had even concluded. "Alien communication platform," he scribbled on his iPad. "Potential user acquisition. Entire galactic civilization. Monetization strategy. Freemium model with enterprise upsell." His venture capital contacts were already lighting up with messages. Who could resist the potential of being the first to develop an interstellar communication app? Back at the Pentagon, the bureaucratic machine ground into motion with all the speed and grace of an arthritic elephant. Committees were formed. Subcommittees were proposed. Someone suggested they needed a comprehensive report detailing the potential economic impact of an alien invasion before they could determine an appropriate response. "We'll need to file a preliminary assessment," Colonel Thompson announced, "and schedule an interdepartmental meeting to discuss the filing of the preliminary assessment." The room nodded in collective bureaucratic agreement. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the scientific team took a somewhat different approach. Dr. Emily Nakamura had already assembled a team of researchers, engineers, and one very enthusiastic intern to begin analyzing the initial contact data. Their war room looked like a combination of a high-tech research facility and a college dorm during finals week. Coffee machines worked overtime. Whiteboards were covered in complex mathematical equations, alien communication analysis, and what appeared to be an ongoing debate about the best type of pizza to order during a potential first contact scenario. "Look at these communication patterns," Dr. Nakamura said, pointing to a series of complex signal displays. "It's like they're fighting, but also debugging." The intern, Jake Williams, leaned in. Are they broadcasting a customer service script?" Across multiple government and research facilities, the initial response to potential first contact was uniquely human. Not panic, not immediate military mobilization, but a carefully choreographed dance of bureaucracy, technological curiosity, and an underlying current of, "We'll figure this out." The universe watched and waited. Humanity continued to be exactly what it had always been: unpredictable, bureaucratic, and somehow brilliant in its complete inability to follow any expected script. The Silicon Valley Research Lab looked more like a cross between a technology playground and a mad scientist's workshop. Dr. William Chen's team operated in a space that defied traditional research environment norms. Gaming consoles sat next to quantum computing arrays. Vintage movie posters hung alongside complex mathematical diagrams, and the coffee machine was a custom-built monstrosity that could brew enough caffeine to power a small city. "Guys," William called out, his voice a mixture of excitement and complete bewilderment, "I think we just accidentally weaponized a customer service algorithm." The team gathered around his primary workstation. What had started as a project to improve chatbot responsiveness had mutated into something far more extraordinary. The communication optimization software they'd been developing was generating computational noise that completely disrupted complex signal tracking. Melissa Rodriguez, the team's lead data scientist, squinted at the screen. Are we actually creating a communication defense mechanism from code originally designed to make customer support less terrible?" The irony was not lost on anyone. Their original goal had been simple: create an AI that could handle customer complaints with unprecedented efficiency. The team had trained the algorithm on thousands of hours of customer service calls, support tickets, and online interactions. They'd programmed it to detect nuance, to parse through layers of human frustration, to provide responses that were simultaneously helpful and slightly sardonic. What they hadn't anticipated was how those same communication parsing abilities would translate to intercepting and disrupting alien communication signals. "Look at this," Williams said, pulling up a series of complex data visualizations. The algorithm was doing something unprecedented. It wasn't just blocking alien communications, it was actively generating counter-signals that confused and redirected incoming transmissions. In the adjacent research pod, a team of robotics engineers was experiencing their own moment of accidental brilliance. What had begun as a project to create more efficient industrial repair drones was rapidly transforming into an adaptive defense network. Jake Martinez, the lead robotics engineer, watched in amazement as their experimental AI began networking the drones into a complex, self-organizing system. Each drone was sharing information, adapting its function, repurposing its primary directives with a speed that defied traditional programming logic. "It's like they're playing the world's most complicated game of improvised problem-solving," Jake muttered. The drones were originally designed for mining operations, scientific research, and infrastructure maintenance. Now they were recalibrating themselves into a defensive network that no military strategist could have predicted. A laser designed for precise rock cutting could now track and redirect energy weapons. A communication array meant for sending geological data could jam and redirect alien signals. Across the country, in a nondescript research facility in New Mexico, another team was experiencing its own breakthrough. Dr. Elena Martinez's fusion energy project had been struggling for years, perpetually on the edge of a significant discovery, but never quite breaking through. The alien incursion changed everything. The extreme energy signatures from the initial alien attacks provided unexpected data. Elena and her team began analyzing the energy transmission patterns, using techniques that were part theoretical physics, part wild computational guesswork. "We're not just defending," Elena told her team during an impromptu late-night strategy session. "We're learning." Their fusion research began to incorporate the alien energy signatures into their existing models. What was meant to be a clean energy project was rapidly becoming something far more revolutionary. They were essentially reverse engineering alien technology in real time, turning potential destruction into a learning opportunity. The most remarkable aspect of these developments was their fundamental randomness. These weren't carefully planned military responses. They were the result of human curiosity, technological adaptation, and a fundamental inability to approach any challenge in a traditional linear manner. Back in the Silicon Valley lab, William Chen looked at his team. "So," he said with a mixture of scientific excitement and complete disbelief, "we might have just created a defense system from a customer service algorithm." Melissa grinned. Just another Tuesday in human innovation. The universe watched. The Galactic Council would later struggle to comprehend how a civilization could turn potential annihilation into an opportunity for technological improvisation. Humanity continued to be exactly what it had always been: unpredictable, brilliant, and slightly absurd. The internet erupted with what could only be described as the most elaborate collaborative defense strategy in human history. What started as a viral livestream about a potential alien invasion quickly transformed into a global, real-time problem-solving experiment that defied every known principle of military engagement. Streamers, gamers, scientists, and random internet users converged in a digital war room that was part Twitch broadcast, part advanced research platform. The primary streaming channel, Alien Invasion _WTF, had accumulated over 50 million concurrent viewers within hours of the first alien contact. "Chat, we're going to solve this," declared the stream's host, a 23-year-old content creator known online as Quantum Jester. His setup was a chaotic blend of high-end gaming equipment, multiple computer monitors, and what appeared to be a half-eaten pizza from the night before. The chat moved faster than any human could read. Suggestions ranged from the brilliant to the completely absurd. One moment, advanced quantum physicists were proposing complex signal disruption theories. The next, someone would suggest weaponizing dad jokes or creating an interstellar rickroll. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Dr. Emily Nakamura watched the livestream with a mixture of professional horror and scientific fascination. Her team had spent years developing complex communication and defense protocols. The internet was solving potential interstellar conflict in real time, powered by caffeine, memes, and an unprecedented level of collective problem solving. "They're actually running computational simulations," she muttered to her colleague, using distributed computing powered by gaming rigs and personal computers. The Galactic Council's tactical displays became increasingly incomprehensible. Human responses defied every known pattern of civilizational conflict. Traditional military strategy assumed a centralized command structure, predictable communication channels, and rational decision-making processes. Humanity offered none of those things. A group of indie game developers began creating real-time simulation models of potential alien interaction scenarios. What started as a potential video game quickly became a sophisticated predictive modeling platform. Players weren't just playing a game. They were actively contributing to humanity's understanding of the alien threat. On Reddit, multiple subreddits merged their collective intelligence: r/science, r/technology, r/gaming. And surprisingly, r/shower thoughts began cross-pollinating strategies. Machine learning algorithms developed by university research teams were being crowd-tested and modified in real time. One particularly memorable suggestion came from a user known as CodeMonkey42. The proposed strategy involved using the collective processing power of distributed computing networks to generate increasingly complex communication noise. It was part mathematical proof, part internet trolling, and entirely unexpected. The alien fleet found itself confronted with communication signals that were simultaneously technical, nonsensical, and mathematically brilliant. Mathematical proofs would seamlessly transition into pop culture references. Technical jargon would be interrupted by elaborate ASCII art. Communication intercepts revealed nothing and everything. They're not fighting. Commander Zulik of the Zinrak invasion force transmitted to his tactical team. They're collaborating. Indeed, humanity had turned potential annihilation into the world's most elaborate group project. University research teams began sharing data in real time. A graduate student in Mumbai would develop a communication analysis algorithm that would be immediately picked up, modified, and expanded by a research team in Sao Paulo. A coding breakthrough in Berlin would be integrated into a defense strategy being developed in Melbourne. The most terrifying aspect for the Galactic Council was the complete lack of centralized control. There was no single point of failure, no primary communication hub to disrupt. Humanity's response was distributed, chaotic, and fundamentally impossible to predict or counter. Light streamers continued their broadcast. "Okay, chat," Quantum Jester announced. "We're going to solve an interstellar conflict using math, memes, and pure human weirdness. Let's do this." The chat exploded with excitement. The universe watched. The Galactic Council was rapidly discovering that humanity's greatest weapon was not its technology, its military might, or its scientific knowledge. It was the ability to turn potential destruction into the world's most elaborate, collaborative problem-solving exercise. The first official communication from the Galactic Council arrived through channels that could only be described as bureaucratically Byzantine. What should have been a formal declaration of terms or surrender became something entirely different. Emily Rodriguez, the junior diplomatic assistant who had originally filed the alien message as spam, found herself unexpectedly at the center of first contact negotiations. Her office, a chaotic space filled with mismatched furniture and an alarming number of coffee mugs, would become the unlikely venue for humanity's most significant diplomatic encounter. The alien transmission began with what appeared to be a formal diplomatic communique. It quickly devolved into something that defied all diplomatic protocols. Mathematical proofs interspliced with what could only be described as an intergalactic version of a passive-aggressive customer service script. Technical specifications were interrupted by what seemed like elaborate internet memes. Commander Zulik of the Zinrak invasion force had prepared for multiple scenarios of human surrender. Groveling, desperate pleas, complicated legal negotiations. What he received was something entirely unexpected. "We acknowledge receipt of your communication," the human response began, "and would like to offer a software patch to improve your communication protocols." The attached document was a 200-page technical report that was simultaneously a detailed analysis of the alien communication systems, a user manual for improved interstellar dialogue, and what appeared to be an elaborate joke about bureaucratic inefficiency. In the Pentagon's Situation Room, Colonel Marcus Thompson reviewed the draft response. Add a footnote, he instructed his team, suggesting they might want to update their firewall configurations. The NASA team, led by Dr. Elena Martinez, had been analyzing the alien technology with a mixture of scientific curiosity and technological opportunism. Their initial research suggested that the alien communication systems were surprisingly vulnerable, not through military weakness, but through fundamental design flaws that no advanced civilization would typically overlook. "It's like they've never considered the concept of adaptive communication," Dr. Martinez explained to her team. "Their entire technological infrastructure assumes a level of rigid predictability that's completely foreign to human innovation." The negotiation team was a bizarre assemblage that defied all diplomatic norms. Alongside professional diplomats stood representatives from technology companies, internet culture experts, and one very confused graduate student who had been picked essentially at random. Marcus Chen from Silicon Valley had already begun drafting a potential business plan. Interstellar communication platform, he muttered, sketching potential app designs. Freemium model, enterprise upsell potential. The Galactic Council found itself confronted with a negotiation process that followed no known diplomatic template. Human representatives would seamlessly transition from technical specifications to pop culture references. A discussion about energy weapon capabilities would suddenly include a reference to a viral internet meme. Mathematical proofs would be punctuated by what appeared to be elaborate dad jokes. Commander Zilek's translation matrices were working overtime. What should have been a straightforward surrender negotiation had become something far more complex. "We propose," one human representative stated, "a mutual technology exchange program. Also, we have some suggestions about improving your communication infrastructure." The attached proposal was a 300-page document that was part technical manual, part stand-up comedy routine, and part serious diplomatic communication. It included detailed technical specifications, potential collaboration opportunities, and what appeared to be an elaborate flowchart that was simultaneously a serious communication protocol and an internet meme. The most shocking element for the Galactic Council was the humans' complete lack of fear. They weren't negotiating from a position of weakness or submission. They were negotiating as potential partners, with a level of technological curiosity and collaborative spirit that was entirely unprecedented. "We think you might have a problem with your quantum communication arrays," another human representative noted casually. "We'd be happy to help you debug them. Also, we have some interesting ideas about improving your overall system architecture." As negotiations continued, it became clear that humanity wasn't just defending itself. It was treating the entire alien invasion as an elaborate technical challenge to be solved, a potential partnership to be explored. The universe watched. The Galactic Council was discovering that humanity's approach to potential annihilation was not fear or submission, but an unprecedented opportunity for technological collaboration. The classification came down from the Galactic Council's central archives. Humanity, highly adaptive probabilistic civilization. It was a designation that took months of debate, countless diplomatic sessions, and what amounted to an interstellar peer review process. In the Silicon Valley Research Lab, Dr. William Chen received a copy of the official classification and promptly pinned it next to a vintage Star Trek poster and a half-eaten burrito. His team saw it as both a scientific achievement and a source of considerable amusement. "We're officially weird on a galactic scale," Melissa Rodriguez observed, raising a coffee mug and a mock toast. The aftermath of the near conflict was nothing like anyone had expected. Instead of tense diplomatic isolation, humanity found itself at the center of a rapidly evolving interstellar knowledge exchange. The Zinrak Collective, initially intent on elimination, now sought to understand the bizarre computational and communication strategies that had completely upended their invasion plans. NASA's research facilities became impromptu interstellar tech exchange centers. What had begun as a potential war transformed into the most elaborate technological collaboration in known history. University research teams from around the world found themselves working alongside alien scientific delegations, solving problems that neither group could have addressed independently. Emily Rodriguez, the junior diplomatic assistant who had originally filed the alien message as spam, became an unexpected diplomatic star. Her ability to navigate complex communications, a skill honed through years of managing bureaucratic chaos, proved invaluable in interspecies negotiations. "I'm pretty sure this wasn't in my original job description," she told her colleagues, only half joking. The global response to the near invasion was equally unprecedented. Instead of fear or nationalistic posturing, humanity responded with a collective curiosity that bordered on the absurd. Social media platforms became impromptu research forums. Universities opened free online courses about potential alien communication strategies. Tech companies began developing communication platforms that could potentially bridge interstellar linguistic gaps. Marcus Chen's startup, initially mocked for its interstellar communication platform pitch, became a multi-billion-dollar enterprise virtually overnight. Venture capitalists who had initially laughed at his proposal now fought for investment opportunities. The Galactic Council discovered that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, its military might, or its scientific knowledge. It was an unprecedented ability to adapt, collaborate, and approach challenges with a combination of serious scientific rigor and complete computational absurdity. Dr. Elena Martinez's fusion energy research team became central to understanding exotic energy transfer technologies. The alien encounter had provided them with data sets that would have taken centuries to develop independently. What was once a struggling research project now stood at the forefront of human-alien technological collaboration. Commander Zulik of the Zinrak Collective found himself assigned to a permanent diplomatic mission to Earth. His reports back to the Galactic Council read like a mixture of scientific observation and bewildered anthropological study. Humans, he discovered, were less a species and more a complex, adaptive system that defied all traditional understanding. They do not fight, one of his reports read. They solve. And they solve in ways that are simultaneously brilliant and completely incomprehensible. The universe watched. The very concept of first contact had been rewritten. Humanity's unexpected response had created a new paradigm of interstellar interaction. Traditional ideas of conflict, diplomacy, and technological exchange were completely reimagined. The Galactic Council's rigid structures of communication and conflict resolution had been systematically dismantled by a species that approached challenges with an unprecedented blend of serious scientific inquiry and creative problem-solving. Back in the Arizona Research Complex, Jackson Miller looked up from his quantum computing project. The alien communication protocols they were now developing seemed more like an elaborate puzzle than a serious scientific endeavor. "Hey," he called to his team, "want to see something cool?" The universe held its breath. Humanity continued to be exactly what it had always been: unpredictable, brilliant, and slightly ridiculous. Just another day in human innovation.